Hola a todos! As you have seen by the title, this video is all about the characters in Volver. Volver is a film by Pedro Almodóvar, and it's a common film for A-level Spanish students to study. If you have yet to watch this movie in class, I have another video about what I wish I knew before I watched it, giving you a background on the movie before you watch it for the first time. So, in this video, I will go through quotes for each character, and the general descriptions along with some debatable opinions, which you can discuss in your essays. I have also included lots of pictures from the movie to help create links between the visuals and the character descriptions. Vale, venga, vamos. Just before I get onto the characters in the film, I want to discuss the actors who played them. The main six actresses, Penelope Cruz, Carmen Maura, Lola Dueñas, Blanca Portillo, Chus Lampreave, and Johanna Cobo, are known as Las Chicas de Almodóvar because they have all worked on many films with Almodóvar. Now onto the first character and the protagonist of the film, Raimunda. Raimunda is a resilient and resourceful working-class mother in her late 20s or early 30s. Her age is not specified. She is the mother of a teenager named Paula. Raimunda is seen working several jobs to provide for her daughter. She also lies to her daughter, not telling her who her biological father is, which allows her to protect her from the knowledge that she was raped. Raimunda is originally from a rural village in Castilla-La Mancha, where her Aunt Paula still lives, but Raimunda lives in Madrid. We can assume one of the reasons she moved to Madrid was to look for a better job. She can also be described as quite a sentimental woman who is sometimes seen as about to cry. For example, when Paula tells her what happened with Paco. Though overall, she is an incredibly strong-willed and independent woman. The color red is most associated with Raimunda, in her clothes and the color of her car. Almodóvar has said it's a very significant color. In Spain, it represents love, hatred, fire, and blood. Now, although Raimunda displays a level of fieriness, she is far from stubborn and has a forgiving nature. For example, she rebuilds her relationship with her mother at the end of the film, instead of choosing to reject Irene coming back into her life. She also decides to return to Sole's house when she storms out after finding her mother under the bed. And lastly, she seems to not have any hatred for Paco, as she buries him in a place that was special to him. I've put lots of key quotes said by her around the page. Most notably, recuerda que fui yo que lo mató y que tú no lo viste porque estabas en la calle. Translating to, remember that it was me who killed him, and you didn't see him because you were outside. She says this to remove any blame or possible consequences for Paula, showing her caring and confident attitude. She also cleans up the blood by herself, and doesn't seem to show any fear, nor sheds any tears over his death. I've also put some adjectives around the page that can be used to describe her, like enérgica, meaning energetic, vital, meaning full of life, and emprendedora, meaning enterprising. The last thing I want to mention about Raimunda is the possible exam questions you could get about her. One of the two questions in June 2019 for AQA was about the factors that motivate her actions, for example, her love for her daughter. And in November 2020, one question asked you to analyze the relationship between mothers and daughters, and Raimunda is obviously a big part of this representation, as she is both a daughter to Irene and a mother to Paula. Another key character in this film is Soledad. She is the older sister of Raimunda and also lives in Madrid. We find out that it has been a few years since she separated from her husband after he abandoned her. As a person, she is much more shy and reserved than her sister, and this is also shown in her name, meaning solitude, which has been carefully chosen by Almodóvar. Her shyness is again shown by her fear of attending Tia Paula's funeral without Raimunda. When Raimunda, Sole, and Paula entered Tia Paula's house at the start of the film, Sole is the first to notice that the house smells like their mum, because her mum is secretly living there. Esta casa sigue oliendo a mamá. She also tells Raimunda, habla de nuestra madre como si estuviera viva. Later in the film, Sole pretends to employ a Russian lady at her illegal hairdressing business, who in reality is her mum. Her success running the illegal hairdressing salon shows an element of entrepreneurship to the character. Just like with Raimunda, I want to bring up a past exam question that links to Sole's character. One of the two AQA AS options in 2019 was about the character of Soledad and the impression that she gives to the viewer. You can mention her personality and how it contrasts with Raimunda, her relationship with her mother, and how she accepts the return of her mother without question. Now to move on to Paula. Paula is the 14-year-old daughter of Raimunda. She lives in a flat in Vallecas, Madrid, with her mum and non-biological dad. Her relationship with her mother becomes much stronger throughout the film, And at the start, Paula is depicted as the typical teenager. She is worried about her mobile phone credit and seems distant from Raimunda in general. Raimunda and Paula's relationship portrays a stereotypical moody teenager and bossy parent. This gap is broken as Paula enters adulthood quickly when she murders Paco. Paco's death brings mother and daughter closer as Raimunda protects her daughter from the authorities and so becomes her accomplice. It is also significant to note that Paula, unlike Raimunda, has successfully escaped the attempted rape at the hands of her supposed father, thus breaking the cycle of abuse in the family. In 2018, the AQA-AS question asked about the relationship between Paula and Raimunda. Vamos a hablar sobre Paco. He is Raimunda's husband and Paula's non-biological dad. He is unemployed as he tells Raimunda, "Me han despedido," I have been fired. Paco seems to be more carefree and less committed to family responsibilities than Raimunda, who is ready to get another job on her only day off to feed her family. Although Paco is a minor character, he is the male character that most appears in the film. As a whole, men are presented in a negative way, with them either being absent, like Sole's husband, sexual predators, or cheaters. Interestingly, Paco's death leads to a change in fortune for the woman. Raimunda begins her restaurant business and Irene makes a return. One of the two options for the A-Level Edexcel 2021 paper asked to evaluate the importance of the symbols related to Paco's death. One symbol is the knife that Paula uses to kill Paco, which is seen in a previous scene when Raimunda is doing the washing up after dinner. This symbolizes how common domestic abuse is and how people have to use everyday objects to defend themselves. The next character I'm going to discuss is La Tía Paula, who is the sister of Irene. We first see her when Paula, Sole and Raimunda visit her at her house in the village. They find out she is deteriorating both physically and mentally, and are amazed how she manages to survive on her own. Later we find out that Irene has been living with her and helping her. Tía Paula's character is based on the last years of Almodóvar's mother's life, and Almodóvar has said the character is a homage to her. Soledad is the one who informs Raimunda about Tía Paula's death, and Augustina holds the wake in her own home. Death is a key theme surrounding this character, and she had her own funeral organized before she died. As Sole says on the phone call to Raimunda, she even chose her own coffin and paid for everything, showing that she did not fear her own death and was prepared for it. Augustina is the woman who lives opposite Tía Paula, and she is a solitary, dedicated, and totally altruistic woman. She is first seen greeting Raimunda, Sole, and Paula very affectionately at the cemetery. Through this kindness displayed by Augustina, Almodóvar explores the close bonds of neighbors in rural communities. Twice, towards the beginning of the film, Augustina comments that Paula tiene los mismos ojos de tu padre, almost foreshadowing that something is not quite right. One part of Augustina's personality that is emphasized is that she is superstitious. She pleads with Raimunda to ask her mother's ghost if she can cast any light on what happened in regards to Augustina's mother's disappearance. Also, Augustina is a character that provides humor, being proud of her mother being la única hippie del pueblo and showing off her plastic jewelry. The penultimate character I'm going to talk about in this video is Irene. Irene is the mother of Raimunda and Soledad and sister to Tía Paula. Everyone believes she has died in a fire with her husband, but in reality it was Agustina's mother who died. Irene spends most of her time in the film helping her daughter Sole in her illegal haircutting business. Towards the end of the film, she resurrects her relationship with Raimunda, apologizing for not noticing her daughter being abused. She goes on to admit that she killed her husband and lover, Agustina's mother, by setting fire to the hut they were both sleeping in. The last character in this video is Regina. She is Raimunda's friend and a Dominican prostitute, who Raimunda turns to when she needs help to bury Paco's body. Regina's character shows how in the absence of men, women are able to form their own cooperative society. Regina also helps Raimunda in an earlier scene, where she sells her some meat Raimunda can use to feed the 30 film crew members. Muchísimas gracias por ver este video. As always, I've linked in the description a PDF where you can download these character mind maps. I have more videos on Volver coming soon, so subscribe to see those. Adios.